Yes? No? I got both. Oh, there we go. Now I know you can hear me. Let me get this out of the way. You going to help me? I just can back it up. We're good. If it's really bad, I'll sit down. It does. My wife, okay, here's a question. Serious question. Guys in the room. Pillow fluffing. Right? Do you do the V or not? Yes. Because your significant other makes you. I'm well trained. It's true. All right, quick poll. Show of hands. Who here, good answer. Who here, show of hands, do not like my jacket? Okay, I love it. Thank you so much. My wife hates it. Hates it. All right, I'm excited here. We're counting down. Question. A couple things. First off, my name is Darryl Praill. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at VanillaSoft. We're a sales engagement vendor. I've carried a bag. My VP of Sales likes to joke that when numbers aren't going well, he's going to bring me back in and put me in. That's a mistake. My first job was selling photocopiers door to door. I hated it. But man, do you learn. It's something. Next question. I want to know something here. Anybody want a bag, a knapsack full of trinkets, branded batteries, headphones, cups, coffee, everything? You guys want that? Yeah? Okay, we have one. Scott, you want to model that for us? We have this wonderful bag full of cool tchotchkes in here. Cost me a ton of money for my marketing budget. At the end, I'm going to ask a question. The first one to give me the answer gets this bag. That's my incentive to you to pay attention. Next up, everybody here. Who here has a fully functioning sales team organization and are just here to win the chance at the bag? That's, we're all laughing. I know. All right, so what we're going to talk about today is that moment, that aha moment, when you suddenly realize, you finally go, holy shit, our frickin' sales process is broken, and it's painful as hell, and what the hell am I going to say to the powers that be? I went through that. My colleague, Scott Amerson, is in the front row here. He went through that with me. I blame him personally, always blame the head of sales. The process was very personal, and we're going to share kind of the story here. We're going to tell you what we did, how we went through this, and the whole intention is that you guys can kind of relate to the pain we went through, and that's it. And we'll open it up to Q&A. So, some self-reflection, okay? You kind of sit back and you say, when you have that moment, you go, holy shit, my sales process is broken. What do? You reflect. This is what we did. What we knew were a few things. We knew that marketing was tied to the hip with sales. Scott and I get along very well. We talk all the time. We don't always talk with respect to each other, but we always love each other, and we know we've got each other's back because he and I live and die together. It's not just sales or marketing. We are the revenue people. So we knew we were together. We knew we had a defined definition that we agreed to on what an MQL was. A marketing qualified lead, what I gave to him to follow up on. If it wasn't that, he shouldn't get it and his team should not follow up on it. We knew we had a service level agreement on when, if I gave him a lead, when would he follow up on it? How long would it take? How many times would he do it? We had that nailed. We knew our ideal customer profile. We knew who we were targeting, the personas. We knew the marketing tactics and campaigns like these events here to use to hit those personas based on that ICP. We have a very candid, blunt, we've had some conversations that are painful, but we always come back because we know we're just trying to do our job. We knew that. So you sit back and you go, well, how the hell did we get here? We've got a really good thing going on. But then we said ourselves, candidly, are our sales forecasting as expected? And the answer was no. No, it wasn't. And that was kind of your first sign that things weren't going well. So we sat back and we said, well, let's look at things. We're missing our targets. Okay, we're missing our targets. That means my bonus is gone. That sucks. Well, are the targets valid? Do we have enough inbound lead flow to feed the machine? Do we have the tools and the playbook required to actually follow up on those leads? Do we have the right tech stack? Are our new reps equipped? Well, let me give you some answers here. Are the targets valid? We didn't know. Do we have sufficient MQL flow? Holy mother of Jesus, we had leads coming in like you wouldn't believe. It's a hot category we're in. We're visible everywhere in social. We're hitting way above our weight. It's a good story. We had lots of leads. We got kick-ass tools. We got a great stack. We got conversational analytics. We've got obviously sales engagement. We've got everything that you could ever ask for to monitor your situation. So we were doing well there. Were the reps equipped to hit their numbers? That's a good question. I would contend they probably weren't. We probably weren't doing a good job on that. So maybe that's a sales enablement issue. But the reps were also trying to boil the ocean, as I like to say, by calling every single lead. I would just shove them, and every single one of you would get a call from them. And maybe every single one of you shouldn't. Just because you're here, you may not be my ICP, right? You may not be the right persona. But they were doing it because they were hungry. And who's going to fault them for doing that? So then we said, okay, are our conversion rates where they should be? And I can tell you this, they weren't. Not even close. Not what you'd expect. Well, are those rates valid? You got to be self-aware, right? You got to ask yourself these questions. These are what you paid for to do. Are the sales reps following a defined process? Well, we thought they were. But was that process right? We didn't know. Are the reps being coached and educated? We were good at this. We knew that. But is it the right coaching and the right education? Because you can do something a lot and do it well and still be doing it wrong. Are the reps hitting their activity numbers? Well, yeah, mostly. They were good, aggressive activity numbers. But again, those of you in sales know that activity doesn't necessarily equate to deals. So that's an interesting situation. Are the reps making enough outreach attempts per lead? This is interesting. I'm a sales engagement vendor. My job is to make sure that you hit each of your leads 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 times, no matter how many times you do it. But you know what the problem was we had? We had so many leads coming in that they couldn't keep up. They could hit them like 4 times and then have to bail because more leads are coming in. Well, you can sit back and say, well, that's a situation, maybe you need more people. We're going to get to that. Are the sales reps using all the channels available to them? Well, we'll argue on that. Scott would say they are. I would say they're not. That's a disagreement, and that's okay. I would say they're not on social media as much as they should be. Scott would say they're not you, Darryl. They don't need to do that. So we had to park that. Do they know our value prop? No. Now, Scott would say yes. And he's not wrong. But from my point of view, when I hear them, when I ask them a simple question, why do I need you? Why do I need VanillaSoft? I wasn't thrilled with the answer from every single rep. Some nailed it, others not so much. But why did that even come to be? How is that possible? Okay, we talked about the fact that we have more leads, therefore we couldn't do the cadence. So is it the fact that we just don't have enough reps? Legit question. We absolutely did not. But you know what? It was a bitch because we couldn't get them. Lord knows we tried. We couldn't get them at all. We did want them in our Plano offices. If we wanted to have them remote, it would have been easier. So already we had a problem. Our Plano offices were too small because we were growing so fast. Another good news story, but again, a problem. How do you deal with that? We had to delay hiring because we didn't have the office space, so we needed a new office space. Now we needed to outfit the office space, but the company's getting their ass kicked because we can't put the reps there, but we don't want them remote. That's a problem. But even when we got the applications, we didn't have the reps we wanted to. So why? Why did we not have the reps? We're a hot company in a hot space. Is it because we have a bad reputation? Look at Glassdoor. We don't. We have a great reputation on Glassdoor. Is it because we were dark for so long, not doing enough marketing, that we just got overshadowed by some of our other vendors in the space, like a Sales Loft or an Outreach? Outreach is a unicorn. Who doesn't want to work for a unicorn? So that's a real possibility. But the funny thing about a unicorn is that they're a unicorn for a reason, because it's a big space, which means we can all make money, and every rep wants to make money. So I want to be part of that space. Are we underpaying? We didn't know. Is career progression unclear? Yes, it was. It was confusing as hell. They would come in and they would say, what's my career progression? We didn't have a clear answer. You work hard, friend. You do a good job. We will look after you. What the hell does that mean? Right? Are our expectations too high? Are we not adequately hyping the opportunity? I think there's a real possibility we weren't hyping it enough, but we kind of thought we were. We thought our brand was on. It should speak for itself. Is the competition simply better at attracting the better reps? That's a possibility. We didn't have these answers, as you can tell. But what did we know? We knew that in the year 2018, our lead flow had quadrupled. Not doubled, not tripled, quadrupled. Again, ICP, in the MQL, everything quadrupled. We were not lacking leads. But our sales did not quadruple. Our sales did not triple. It doesn't matter what our sales did. If we quadrupled the lead flow and it was all the right leads and our sales process was working, just simple math, extending that trend line, we should have quadrupled sales and we didn't. That's when we knew our sales process was broken. That's a real big issue. But we also knew that leadership was aligned. The politics of the company were minimal. None of these backstabbing games going on, power plays, that's kind of cool. And we knew the category was huge. So we had to sit back and we were being honest with ourselves as we sat around staring at each other, scratching our heads and going, what the hell's going on? And we said, is it marketing's fault? Maybe the leads were quadrupled and maybe they were MQL, but the MQL was shit. It's a real possibility. Is marketing giving them the wrong message? It's possible. Is sales not adequately staffed? We knew that. Is sales not hitting their playbook? We knew that. Does marketing, do I need to be replaced? Does Scott need to be replaced? I put this deck in Scott's eyes, in Scott's hands before we came here today, about a week ago, and I said, I'm going to ask if you needed to be replaced. I'm going to tell everybody in this room. I'm putting myself out there too. This is a real conversation we had with our CEO, with our investors. Are you okay with that? And he's like, dude, this is real life, and if they can learn from what we went through, that's what it's all about. So, what we came to this obvious conclusion, the sales process was broken, but the leadership team was solid. The powers that be that hold my job in their hands decided to retain both Scott and I. We knew that the leads weren't being adequately pursued, so that probably meant we needed to increase the quality of the leads. If I increase the quality of the leads, then he should close more business with his team. That's the theory. He should be able to make 8 touches instead of 4. That's the theory. Fewer leads, higher quality. We were lacking best-in-class hiring practice for sales. We needed to revise the structure. We needed to revise the comp plan. We needed to revise our hiring efforts. We needed a clear path to promotion. And we knew if we didn't do it fast, we were going to be up shit's creek. So how do we compare? When I did a Google on sales process, sales structure broken, this is what they'll tell you. You should be looking at this right now and saying, is this us? Is our forecast accuracy poor? I would contend ours was because of the issues we just talked about. Is pipeline speculative? Are our win rates declining? Are sales cycles getting longer? Is it longer for our sales new hires to ramp up? There's lots of reasons why. You're here for hopefully to figure that out for your own organization or how to optimize your organization. So where do we start? Step A. We said we got to fix this. We said we don't know the answers. I've shared that with you already. We know the questions to ask, but we don't know the answers. So we took a boatload of money that we had sitting in our wonderful bank accounts and we said we're going to drop a lot of money. We're going to drop 6 figures on 2 vendors. Vendor A, I shall not name them. Come up to me afterwards and I'll tell you if you want to know. Their whole purpose was to come and audit and then tell us what to do on our infrastructure, on our hiring, how the team is structured. What's the promotion? How do we recruit them? It's the basics. Their whole thing was to do that. We had them for a fixed term, fixed price, get in, get out in a matter of a couple months. They were going to use their access to industry-proven benchmarks to compare and contrast us. So the audit says, this is how you stack up, but then it says, but this is where you need to be based on where we're at. We needed an arbiter, a third party, an outsider who wasn't us to come in, who's not emotionally invested, to give us that tough medicine. We had to rip off that Band-Aid. We had to know it was going to hurt. Consultant B, different role entirely. Assume that now the person's hired. We needed to make sure they were being coached, they were being trained, that they had the right tools, not just the reps, the SDR, the AEs, but also Scott. Scott is a leader. Scott needed a second person that he can go to, a trusted advisor, to actually make sure he's doing it right. We can all get better. Scott, myself, if you're not seeing it, you see me on stage here, there's a lot of vulnerability and transparency here, but this is what we had to go through. So what was the team structure we finally came up with? There's lots of structures. InsideSales.com just did a blog this week on sales structures. Look it up. They had like 10 different structures. This is where we settled down. We're a SaaS vendor. And what you'll see is fundamentally, we look at it from an inbound and an outbound. And the biggest thing here is we look at it is a lead coming in a general inquiry? Is it from our non-target verticals? So for example, we're solid. We're like kick-ass in technology, higher ed, insurance, hospitality, healthcare. Those are industries that we're really good in. So if you come in from manufacturing, that is a non-targeted vertical. And that went to your SDR level 1. What's the career path here? If you haven't figured it out yet, you go from an SDR 1 to an SDR 2 to an account executive 1 to an account executive 2 generalist to an account executive 2 specialist. It's simple as that. So if you're a non-target vertical, you're going to go to the SDR 1. If you're in our target vertical, you go to the more talented SDR 2 because that's where we rock and they know our value prop. That's the first thing. Now, where does it go from there? Well, we do a discovery call. If we learn at the SDR 1, the non-targeted vertical, that it's less than 15 seats, they go to our account executive level 1. But if it's more than 15 seats, they go to the account executive level 2. It's a bigger deal. We don't want to blow it. Similarly, in the SDR 2, doesn't matter the seat size, they're already going to an AE2. So we have entire teams now built around this. We have an insurance SDR2 goes to an insurance AE2 as an example. So that was the structure. That's what they came up with. And it makes a lot of sense. We then had to look at our accounts, right? So our A list, again, are our target verticals. Our B list are emerging targets. So maybe an emerging target for us might be, I don't know, finance. I'm making that up. They're not our target, but they're an emerging one. They could be a really good one if we get a few more customers there and really nail it. So they're emerging. C is this general addressable market, and D are time wasters. We had to do that buckets. We didn't have these buckets because what we weren't doing, as you saw, because we're boiling the ocean, was we weren't just vicious about focusing. We had to focus. So our SDRs focused on the A and the B list accounts that will fill my funnel. They're going to collect the data about the B, and eventually we'll make a decision to move some of those into A and some of those out to dead ends. We're not going to refuse a C-list account. If you come to us, we'll check you out, but we're not going to go after them. So that killed all of my general marketing, gone. My lead volume just dropped. I'm being religious, I'm being focused, all right? And, you know, if you came to me with 1 seat or 2 seats or 4, I'd talk to you. Now I'm not. You don't hit my minimum, my thresholds, you're gone. I'm moving on. Talk to another vendor. Then we had to have the right mix. We didn't have the right mix. What are the right SDRs to account executives? They support one another. What we learned here, this is Bridge Group data, is that the standard is 1 SDR for every 2.6, 2.5 AE. So 2 SDRs to 5 account executives. When we first heard that, we thought that's backwards, right? You're going to have like 5 SDRs to 2 account execs. That just seems more logical, really keep them busy. And they said, no. So right away you go, okay. I see what we're screwed up. So that was the challenge. And of course, if you're in a high growth company, then you actually have, you know, a higher number. So that was like, wow, now we know our structure, AE1, AE2, SDR1, SDR2. And now we know our ratios. Our ratios were out of whack, our structure was out of whack. So that led to, if that's all cool, we know the promotion plan, we know how to hire, at least where they're going to go on the team, we need to now go get them. So we had to manage and reinvent our whole hiring process. What we know are a couple things. When we managed the hire, we had to know explicitly what was the experience we needed. If you're an SDR 1, you're going to have 0 to 1 years. Your first job out of school probably, not a shock there. But SDR 2, 1 to 2 years, probably B2B. And you can see these are the skills and the attributes you've got to have. You don't have this. I don't care how much I like you. I don't care if you're on the same sports team. I don't care if you went to my alma mater. You're gone. It sucks, but this is the case. We had to be religious. Next was we actually had to manage the growth plan, and when are they going to advance? All right, so if you're at a 1, within 6 to 9 months, we know you're going to go to a 2, or you might go to marketing or customer success, or you might go somewhere else. If you're a 2, in 9 to 12 months, you're going to go to an AE1 or AE2. This is a conversation I now have in the hiring process, and I have HR processes in place to manage this. We had to recruit like a pro. Mind-boggling. How many people here, you do the ad, you sit back, the ads come in, when you get to it, because there's a lot of stuff going on, you're working the deals, you're chasing, you're having meetings, and that hire goes from, I'll get this done in 2 weeks to it's 2 months and you're finally getting around to hiring them, right? And your actual reps who are applying are pissed off at you because they wanted an answer now. So that's what we had to do. We actually had to target the right candidates and be religious about it. We had to sell our sizzle. We had to get rid of the friction from applying. This was big for us. We mapped out the interview process. It is all templated now. You can't change. There's your process. When we do this right, this all happens from start to finish. In 2 weeks, you have an offer or not. That was a change internally. Not that we didn't want to do this ever. We just hadn't made it a priority, and that was affecting our ability to staff, which was affecting our sales success. And then coaching. Okay, they're hired now. Life's grand. I got to coach them. Okay, I can't coach everybody the same, even though I wanted to all the time. All right, what do you need to know? You have calibers of SDRs on your teams, A, B, C's, and D's. Your A's could use a little coaching, but they're already kicking ass. So, that's not where you need to be. You need to be in your B's and your newbies. And your D's, you should be strongly encouraging them to polish up their resume. Define the process. This is the sales stage. We had to review our own sales stages at every step along the way. You can do your own process. You don't need to follow this, but let me draw to your attention the fact that we did a couple things. We actually had expectations of each stage outline. If you didn't do this, you weren't moving it. That's about how much you thought. Next, we had exit criteria. Again, common sense stuff, but stuff that you glossed over or you kind of wing it a little bit. Okay, we couldn't wing it anymore. We were growing too hard, too fast. Then we had to manage their activity. Not because we believe activity equals results, because we know that varies, but we do need to know how we actually work. What are the inputs that we need to achieve? We believe the activities, and what are the outputs, which is what we want to have happen. I'm showing here benchmarks, right? Dials, 43 for an SDR1, 52 for an SDR2. Sounds silly? But look at that, right? The split, SDR1, 65% email, but an SDR2, 40% email. It drops. That nuance we didn't have. We didn't know. Now we do. We had to have the right cadence. We nailed this. If we didn't, we shouldn't be in the sales engagement space. But not everybody does. We had to measure our account executives, not just the ARs. We had to know how they move from stage to stage. We had to know what their pipeline coverage was, what their pipeline speed was. We had to get a lot more granular and benchmark ourselves against best in class. Did we know best in class? Not really. We could have got it, I'm sure, but now we do. That's where our money went. And then, of course, there's a lot of follow-on questions if they're not matching those numbers, which then affects your coaching. Finally, the tools of the trade, not counting CRM. I found this really interesting. On account executive level 1, you're going to spend on average $300 per rep. And you can see sales engagement is high, where I am. That's why we're in a hot category. But you see how it goes up like a lot. A third higher, 33% higher when they become an AE2. We just had a flat stack. We weren't rationing this based on role. It changes. It changes. Look, for example, 48% use LinkedIn at an AE1, but 64% use LinkedIn at an AE2. Do you know how you split? We didn't. 38% use call recording, but 46% use it. It's more important when it's a bigger deal size. You need to invest your time accordingly. Final thoughts. A broken sales process is not uncommon. No shame in that. We are all broken to some extent. Some would say my jacket is broken. The reality is you can only fix it if you acknowledge the issues you have. You ask those hard questions, and it's going to be emotional, and it's going to be political, and there's going to be conflict. But if you ignore it, you're screwed. You can't fix what you ignore. You may not like the truths revealed. I didn't like all of them. Scott didn't like all of them. Some of them were on me, some were on him, some were on others. No one likes the spotlight shining on them, but that's the truth. You need to get alignment among the key stakeholders. Set the rules of engagement before you go down this road. You know, it's a club. Guys, we're all in this together. No matter what happens, everybody spit in your palm, put it out there, let's do it. Come on, we're in. That's what it's about, because you're a team. And then you need to build the organization that's right to succeed. So we took all of our sales staff and we parked them over here. We did this. We designed the whole thing. And then we cherry-picked them. Oh, you can fit here, and you can fit here. And I know you thought you were an AE1, but you know what, buddy? You're an SDR2. Sorry, that sucks. All right? And some of you just didn't fit. And for the ones who didn't fit, we had to let them go. But we took care of them because company culture is who we are. So they were not booted out the door. They were given exceptionally generous exit packages because we want them not to go on Glassdoor and badmouth us. We want them to say, I understand, it was a reorg, it was done with class. So there will be casualties, treat them right. You need at all times focus on the end goal, and if I can give you one piece of advice, over-communicate as much as possible. That's my story. That's what we went through. Our sales process was broken. It's far less broken now, but it's a work in process. So, before I ask questions, I said the name of my VP of sales. What's his first name? Who said Scott first? Scott, right behind you, that young lady, she gets the backpack. Now, I know the beastie awards are next, so I don't want to hold things up, Brian. You tell me.
I'm sure there's got to be some questions after hearing.
Oh, I got hands over here already, I'm seeing.
Of course, sweet.
All right.
There's David. How much time do we have?
David.
For Q&A? We'll do a couple. You mind? I can't.
Those of you that are standing in the back, come on, grab seats. There's no fear. Come on, sit. We've all been.
Okay, and while we're doing this,
my boss, so I can steal it first.
I'm on LinkedIn. It's right there, because every sales rep knows you should be on LinkedIn. Go there now and send me an invite. If you don't, I'll stalk you. So there we go.
Actually, you know what? Really quick, if I can make a suggestion, if you guys have your LinkedIn apps on your phones, pull them up. Click like you're going to add new people and turn on Find Nearby.
Yes, that works awesome.
If everyone turns that on, then we can all find everyone else, and you can just basically mass add a bunch of people. Pro tip.
No, don't say that twice.
My Find Nearby is on. You should find me, no problem.
I'm so sorry.
All right, Brian, I know we had a question over here.
So I was wondering if your SDR reps are doing software demos.
Scott, do you want to jump in on that one?
Yes, they are.
So the answer is yes, they are. Are they doing it well?
Only one, or do you have to get two before you're allowed to demo?
SDR2's demo, SDR1, so we're working on our outbound reach. So they're doing the qualifications, right, for the different resources that we have. But the SDR2s are doing the preliminary discovery call, quality conversations, and it gets advanced to the A.
Scott, why don't you come up here? We'll share the mic. While he's doing that, come on up. Don't be shy. And then what he said was SDR2s the ones actually doing the demos. SDR1s, they're the ones doing the discovery calls. Next question.
So on your little slide, you said that the SDRs, if you get an account that comes in that's outside of your ICP,
Yep.
that goes to SDR1. Is that a conversation you have with them when they're hiring that? Because it seems to me that, hey, we're going to give you the leads that we really don't want or that we're not best at. You're going to get those first. So how do you train them at the same time giving them
Craft leads. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, you can jump in here, but part of the process of being an SDR1 is learning the tools and learning the messaging and learning, the basics of doing your job. So if you're going to screw it up, I prefer you screw it up on ones that are not my target market. That's the first part. So it's a safe place to physically learn. All right. And the second place is teaching them when it's okay for them to physically say to them, "You're just not a good fit." That's an element. But anything you want to add to that?
And we're going to protect them from ourselves as well. So it's not the first day we hire you, say, you're an SDR1 working general, or you're an SDR2 with insurance. Unless you really come to us with that skill set, that you have an insurance or higher ed background, then we recruited you for that purpose, But we're not necessarily going to come through and say, you're only going to work on crap leads, you're never going to meet your goal, and I'm going to fire you in 6 months because you didn't hit your quota, right? We failed them for success in that case.
And that was a big part of what we went through with the whole coaching and putting in checks and balances in place about, do we coach our A's or our B's or our C's or our D's, and how much do we coach, and do they have the right tech stack, and how do we onboard them? That was another big part of it, right? Which we've only glossed a lot of it here, but that was a big part of it. Positioning them for success was huge. Any other questions?
We're gonna do one more? If not,
One at the back there?
wait.
No, he's saying we're out of time. I'm getting the hook. Darryl, you suck. That's what I heard.
Hey, can you guys do me a big favor and give Darryl a big hand? Way to